Got a letter from a man in deep. Said his house ain't a home and he's losing sleep. Wife cold as steel, vibe off track. Asked me how the hell to get his edge back.
What's going on, guys? I'm only 15 minutes late thanks to a last minute power outage. It was just a quick blip that went off too. Hold on. Hold on, guys. We got to load the restream. Load. There we go. Load. There we go. All right. Yeah, man. Like the color's even off now. I don't know, whatever. We're going to just move on here. We got a pretty good sponsored video for you today. My man wrote in, he said, "Hey, longtime listener, I wanted to sponsor an episode because I feel like I'm stuck between two ways of thinking about this, and I can't figure out which one is actually useful. So I went down the hypergamy rabbit hole about 6 months ago, found some forums, watched a lot of videos, and at first it felt like everything finally made sense. My last relationship, my marriage before that, patterns I kept seeing but couldn't explain, it all clicked. But here's where I'm at now. 6 months later, I'm angrier than I was before I knew any of this." It's like that scene in the Matrix, right? Where the guy's like, after all this time in the Matrix, ignorance is bliss, Yeah. So he's 6 months later, he's like, let's see here. 6 months, I'm angrier than I was before I knew any of this. I'm looking at women differently. I'm looking at my dating life differently, and not in a way that's helping me. I go on dates, and I'm basically sitting there waiting for the woman across from me to prove the theory right. And honestly, she usually does something that confirms it, or I think she does. And then I'm back in my head again. This goes along with what I've been talking about on Frame Fridays the last couple of weeks about the stories we tell ourselves and the toxic content we consume. Just helps paint a more negative picture in our brains that doesn't necessarily help us out in any way. It's interesting because if you really understand red pill being a praxeology, it's neutral in itself. It's not good or bad. It's what you do with that information. Now, a lot of guys find this information, it completely disrupts their worldview, and they hate all women, right? That's the red pill rage phase, right? Because instead of taking the information and going, okay, how can I build a strategy around this? Now that I know how it all works, how can I build a strategy around this? Instead of doing that, you're just like, you know what? Women suck. Right? The guys in these forums are either completely checked out or they're furious. Yeah. And I get it. I felt both, but I don't actually want to be either one of those guys. I've got my life together. I'm not broke. I'm not a mess. I'm not sitting in my mom's basement. Yeah, because that's what I always say, right? Like, get out of your mom's basement, right? Like a lot of these incels, they're in their mom's basement. Most of those guys aren't really in their mom's basement, but they are angry at the world, angry at women, angry that they didn't know this stuff sooner, right? I'm not sitting in my mom's basement. I just can't figure out how to take what I know now and actually use it instead of just letting it make me bitter. And that's the thing, right? Like, knowing about hypergamy is one thing, but formulating a strategy around it to use it to your advantage is something totally different, right? And a lot of the negative black pill type channels and the MGTOW channels and like the self-proclaimed incel type channels, they never tell you what to do with it. They just commiserate and complain about it, right? It's not helpful. And they don't want you figuring out how to use it to your advantage, because then you're going to stop tuning into their channels, right? You're going to actually go out and have a healthy relationship with women, because you'll know how it works and you'll know how to use it to your advantage to make women look at you like you're their best hypergamous option, right? But they don't want you knowing that stuff, because then you'll stop watching their nonsense, right? But that's largely what most of my content is about. That's largely what most of my books are about. They're about using hypergamy, giving you a fundamental understanding of how it works, how it really works, and how to use it to your advantage. If you just look up a Wikipedia or a dictionary definition of hypergamy, it only tells you one part of the equation. It says women are, in the way black pill guys look at it, is women are always looking for the bigger, better thing, right? Women are always looking to trade up. Women are always looking to date up. That's only part of it. That's only part of it, right? So let's try to simplify things, okay? I want you to think of sales. In order to be good at sales, what do you have to do? You have to figure out what the customer wants and needs, okay? Now, guys who are bad at sales spend too much time talking about how great their product is. And when you talk about how great the product is, you're talking about you and your company. You're not making it about the customer. You understand? So the same thing with figuring out a strategy around hypergamy. We know women are wired for it. So why not give them what they need? Or more specifically, give them what they respond to. Okay. The great Ross Jeffries, one of the legends in the pickup artist space. He's the guy that he created speed seduction based on NLP, right? He was using NLP basically to hypnotize women into sleeping with him. Right? Guy was a genius. Well, he was on a talk show in the 90s. And the talk show host asked him, she's like, well, don't you care about what women want? And he goes, I don't care about what women want. He goes, look, there's things that women say they want. There's things that women think they want. Then there's things that women actually respond to. He's like, I only care about what women respond to. And so do we in the red pill space. Red pill actually came out of the pickup artist community, right? So that's what we want. We want to give women what they actually respond to, not what they say they want, what they think they want, okay? So hypergamy is their sort of default operating system. You can look at it that way, and it's dualistic. And we're not quite at the 8-minute mark. So alpha seed, beta need, right? Alpha seed, beta need. The problem with this space, the red pill space or the manosphere, is the focus on the alpha side of hypergamy. Okay. Now that's great. That focusing on the alpha side of hypergamy is awesome if you just want to spin plates forever and just hit it and quit it. Then yeah, by all means, that's what you should focus on. Okay. It really depends on what you want at the end of the day. It's not effective though in long-term relationships because she will end up missing that beta comfort part of the equation. Okay. So most guys who gravitate to the space, most of those guys do want long-term relationships. They just haven't been working out. They haven't been working out because you've had up until this point an ineffective strategy when it comes to women because you didn't quite understand this thing in the background called hypergamy, right? So most of those guys do want relationships. They don't want to be permanent plate spinners. But here's the thing. They think it's either or. They think, oh, well, if I learn how to use hypergamy to my advantage, I can only spin plates for the rest of my life and I can never truly have a long-term relationship. Right? It's just fundamentally not true. Okay. It's not true. It really, all this stuff really depends on what you want. Okay. So if you want to just spin plates forever, just hit it and quit it, then yeah, you got to understand that part. Cause that's really when we talk about alpha seed, beta need, a lot of people don't like the terms alpha, beta, like for whatever reason. They're usually nerds, but you can look at it like sexual attractiveness and comfort, right? Which we'll get into here in a second a little bit more. But when you're out spinning plates and dating, like that's what you have to optimize for. You have to optimize for sexual attractiveness. But the problem is that a lot of bad daters are optimizing for the beta comfort stuff because women say that's what they want. We'll talk about why here in a second, right? But because these guys want long-term relationships, they almost always lead with that beta comfort stuff, which is great if your goal is to be used and discarded by women, right? If that's your goal, then by all means lead with the flowers and chocolates and putting them on pedestals and all that kind of nonsense. Okay. Guys who think women only care about money land in this category, okay? Because these guys don't know a better way. And so they get frustrated and give up, or they complain about it, but then just keep doing it, right? But there's a better way. You don't have to lead with money. In fact, you could be dead ass broke and still get chicks, okay? In fact, it's even easier to get chicks when you're dead ass broke, okay? You just need to know how. He goes on, he says, because right now it feels like I learned something that was supposed to help me. Instead, it just made dating feel pointless. Like, why put in the effort if this is just how women are wired? I don't think that's the right way to look at it, but I can't argue myself out of it either. The best way I've ever heard it described, hypergamy, right? The best way I ever heard described from an alpha, we're past the amen mark, from an alpha fucks, beta bucks standpoint is the way Athol K describes it in the book, The Married Man's Sex Life Primer, which is a great book. If you are one of those guys that can't sit down and read a paperback book, you're not going to want to read it. It's not available on Audible, you know. But it's a great book if you want to take the time to sit down and read it. But he describes alpha fucks, the alpha side of hypergamy, as what creates a dopamine response in women. Okay. And then the beta buck side of hypergamy, that's what's creating the oxytocin feeling in her, which is a comfort love feeling. It's the same feeling that she has for like an uncle or a brother or, you know, a family member. That's comfort love. It's not sexual attraction. You understand? I talk about it more in the new book, Dick Her Down Right, but creating what I call in my other books, heat, healthy emotional anticipation and tension. You're essentially spiking her dopamine frequently, which makes her addicted to you. Okay. That's the alpha side of hypergamy. Okay. So then your presence after sex or being her rock during her emotional storms, that kind of stuff, that gives her that oxytocin feeling. That makes her feel safe and secure in the relationship. That's the beta buck side of hypergamy. And if you want to be in a long-term relationship, you do have to add a little bit of that. You understand? So if you don't want to end up in a dead bedroom or her looking for someone better to fuck, you just have to really embrace the alpha fuck stuff, keep her on her toes, always be gaming her, always be seducing her. Okay. ABS, always be seducing. Okay. Then occasionally sprinkle a little beta on it when the situation calls for it. Okay. Like in my books, I say it's an 80-20 split. You want to really have more of an 80% alpha dopamine, you know, creating dopamine spikes in her, and then 20% of the beta comfort stuff. Okay. All that being said, the guys who lose tend to get it backwards. They try to do all the comfort stuff because that's what women say they want when men ask. Women, you guys got to understand this. Women are utterly incapable of describing what makes them sexually attracted to a man. So when you ask them what they want, they talk about it from the position of already being in a relationship with a guy. Okay. The guy that they already find sexually attractive. You understand? So they talk about it, about the beta comfort stuff. And this is why you should never get dating or relationship advice from women about women. You know, like, don't ever get advice about women from women because they give you terrible fucking advice because they always talk about it from the beta comfort stuff, but that's not what gets them into the relationship in the first place. Okay. It's something that I learned from Dr. Robert Glover, but women don't fuck a man they get to know. They get to know a man they want to fuck. You understand? So you have to lead with the sexual attractiveness stuff and keep it there. Everything that you did in the beginning to attract them, you have to keep doing to maintain that relationship. The problem is that most guys think that they've hit some kind of mythological finish line whenever they get exclusive with a chick or, you know, they marry a chick. They're like, okay, now I don't have to do this shit anymore. Like, no. If you want to keep this relationship going, you have to keep doing what got you there in the first place. You know, now a lot of guys look at that like work, but if you make it a part of who you are, and this is just what you do anyway, right? Because you create a paradigm around it, then it's effortless. It's just something you do. Okay. So that means you must lead with sexual attractiveness first, and only when she's earned it do you sprinkle that beta comfort on it. Okay. So you need to make her earn your time and attention. This is all part of the dating process. All of this is demonstrating higher value. Demonstrating higher value. Okay. Which is what women respond to at the end of the day. Okay. They want a man that they perceive as having higher value than them in some way. And this has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with sexual market value. And if you really think about it, money is the beta side of hypergamy. Okay. So if you're leading with that shit, you're actually not that attractive. You're not sexually attractive. Okay. But they'll be happy to use your ass. Okay. So if you're out dating right now, I really do break all of this down into a science in everything I wish I knew when I was 18. Because I literally wish I knew all this shit when I was 18. But one of the things, it's funny, Ryan Stone, the legendary Ryan Stone, by the way, the world's best red pill couch, he did a review of everything I wish I knew when I was 18 recently, which is really nice of him to wait 3 years to finally review it. But one of the things he said in there, he goes, does it deliver on the title? And he goes, I don't think so. He goes, I don't really know if I would have, if learning this stuff at 18 would have made a difference. But I talk about it in the book. I said, the thing about it is when I was 18, I thought I fucking knew everything, right? That's the problem with teenagers. They think they fucking know everything already. So you can't teach them anything new. So if I handed my 18-year-old self this book, he wouldn't have fucking read it because he thought he knew everything about girls already, right? That's the paradox of teenagers. Anyway, my man says, I wanted to sponsor an episode on this because I need someone to give me something constructive to do with all this instead of just stewing on it. There's got to be a better way to use this information than what I've been doing with it. Yeah. Go back and listen to last Friday's episode about our input diets. Okay. It would be good for you to get out of those negative forums and start tuning into channels that actually give you a strategy around this information instead of just bitching and moaning about it. My channel, obviously, you know what I mean? My channel, obviously, Nuclear Caudillo. He's got a great channel. Let's see here. Ryan Stone, that son of a bitch. He's got a pretty good channel. He's got written like 1 million books now too. Fuck that guy. I'm just kidding. Jack Napier, that channel would be good. And Apex Mindset with Paul Benjamin, like all those channels really give you good advice and strategy around this stuff. Now, if you want to truly understand hypergamy and red pill and stuff like that, definitely follow Rollo Tomasi. But he fully admits that he doesn't often give prescriptions, right? So he gives you the information, but he doesn't tell you what to do with this information. And he does that by design. He just doesn't like, because different guys need different things based on what they want, right? At the end of the day, which is kind of what I was talking about. So Rollo doesn't really give a lot of prescriptions, but if you want to understand it better and really understand it, then Rollo's a good channel for that. But if you want strategy around it, then Nuclear Caudillo, Ryan Stone, Apex Mindset, Paul Benjamin, and Jack Napier. Yeah, and me, obviously. Okay. And also, get in the fucking wolf pack. Get in the fucking wolf pack. It's full of guys working on strategy. They're not just in there commiserating with each other, bitching about women. Okay. They're actually in there asking questions, seeing what they could have done better and stuff like that. We had one of our brothers in the wolf pack who's fundamentally totally different relationship with his wife now than when he joined the pack. I love this guy. He was talking about this morning. He was saying how he's in really good shape. This guy happens to be in really fucking great shape. And he likes to wear like really short shorts, and his wife gives him shit about it all the time. And he's like, no, I'm gonna keep wearing these fucking shorts, And I joke with him. I say, hey man, you should agree and amplify with that and say that you're gonna switch to Speedos here, Well, anyway, she just started recently doing this thing where she stopped washing them. They're Ranger Silkies, I guess, right? Like they're just really short cut shorts, kind of like the Special Forces wear and shit. And he said that the last couple times she's done laundry, she's done all the laundry except his Ranger Silkies, which he leaves at the bottom. He's like, he's like, I think it's funny that she's doing this, but what should I do? Should I confront her about it? What should I do? And I go, wash it yourself, but playfully tease her that you're not getting rid of my Speedos this easily, you know, and this swat her on the ass for emphasis, right? But that's how you do it. You playfully, you know, let her know that her little antics don't bother you and you think it's funny, and you turn it into a big joke. And actually that kind of activity, that cocky, funny attitude turns it all into flirting, playfulness anyway, which leads to sex. So it's a great thing to do. Okay. But that's us swapping notes, right? Swapping notes about strategy and how to use this shit to your advantage. Okay. So get in the Wolf Pack is the perfect place for that sort of thing. We're having our monthly pod class this Saturday too. So it's the perfect time to join, take advantage of the 7-day free trial. But I hope that answered your question. Okay. Hypergamy is not this evil thing. And I know a lot of black pill guys, they're like, it's the devil's doing. And it's these modern women, these modern hypergamous women. Hypergamy has been around since the dawn of man and women. Okay. It's women's sexual strategy. That's all it is. So you can take it and just understand it and use it to your advantage. One of the things that we were also talking about in Wolf Pack today was that men and women fundamentally have two different sexual strategies. Men are polygamous by nature, which means we want unlimited access to unlimited pussy with unlimited variety, right? Like we want to bang everything that moves. And women's sexual strategy is hypergamy. And there's this older Red Pill Forum article called Hypergamy is Monogamy. Okay. So if you want to be in a long-term relationship, a long-term monogamous relationship, you absolutely can. You just got to understand that you're technically abandoning your sexual strategy for hers. Okay. Now one of the things I mentioned in the Wolf Pack today was that there's a lot of, because that's the cardinal rule. That's the cardinal rule of sexual strategies, is for one gender's sexual strategy to win, the other gender has to abandon or compromise theirs. Okay. Now it's not a win or lose situation. It comes down to, what do you want in life? Okay. And most guys that gravitate to the space, they actually want long-term monogamous relationships. So if in that case, you would abandon your strategy of banging like unlimited women. You just would. Okay. Now some guys don't, right? And some guys continue to have polygamous type relationships. Look at the Mormons. look at our Muslim brothers out there, right? They have harems and stuff like that. Or sometimes you just have polymono type relationships where it's open on your end, closed on her end. The thing is that when oftentimes when you say, hey, let's open the relationship, let's have an open relationship, it's open for both of you. And guess what ends up happening? It's open on her end and closed on your end because you don't have enough fucking game to get all the other women, right? But women could fucking swing a dead cat and get someone to fuck them, right? It doesn't take that much for women to have sex, right? So it's having these open relationships. I don't know if is necessarily the best strategy out there. It just really comes down to what you want, right? And I'm not going to ever tell you on this channel what you should do. Well, you should get married. Because I actually don't think you should get married, right? But some guys, that's what they want for whatever reason. That's a value to them. Okay, cool. All right. Just understand what you're getting into and have a strategy around that. That's all I would say. Okay. But it really comes down to what you want, right? And so if that's what you want is a long-term relationship, that's cool. Just understand that you're technically abandoning being a polygamous guy, and you're operating in, with her sexual strategy, but you can do that while still setting the tone and leading and have her entering your frame. Absolutely, you could do that. Okay. So it just really comes down to what you want. Don't look at hypergamy like it's this fucking evil thing. Okay. Understand it and then use it to your advantage with what we just talked about today. All right, guys, that's all we got. What do we got here in the chat? We got sup, Paul and his edging. Yeah. I had a power outage like right before the show. It just was like a quick blip. Happens a lot over here where I live out in the cow pasture. And then my fucking Windows 11 desktop just takes forever to reboot. So it was sitting there just fucking spinning for a long time. So I apologize. Brother Nathan. Hello, Mr. Hypergamy bean specialist. That's right. We diddle beans. We're bean diddlers on this channel. Absolutely. And he says, we really need to get an IT guy in here. Yes. I said, can someone put me in touch with a non-retired IT guy, because my computer takes way too long to reboot. I should really take some time to fucking look at that, right? Ask our in-house vibe coder. You know what? Developers aren't really good at troubleshooting PCs, so fuck that guy. But brother Mike Steele, he could hook a brother. Darfin says, getting Wolfpack too sweet, brother. He says, Paul said it really well last week, and it applies to hypergamy. The knowledge of it can do one of two things: build you or destroy you. Just like a gun can be good or bad in itself, it's neutral. True statement. And then hypergamy is the same way. It can piss you off or give you the playbook on what to do and what not to do. Absolutely. Use it to your advantage. You know, even if you watch a show like Rich Cooper, right? And I like Rich. I do like Rich, but he'll even say use hypergamy to your advantage. But then, you know, he does spend a lot of time, you know, complaining about single moms and chicks with tattoos. So I don't know how helpful that is. Some guys find that helpful, whatever. Okay. If that's your bag of lemons, I don't know. Barrel of monkeys. I don't know. If that's your thing, then yeah, tune into that stuff. But if it's not helping you, then maybe find a different channel that's better at you know, giving you strategy. That's all I'm going to say. Not shitting on Rich. I love his book, actually. His book, The Unplugged Alpha, phenomenal book. I've read that book. I don't know, 5 or 6 times, maybe. It's a great book. I haven't read his new edition, but I did hear that he got rid of the foreword from Rollo Tomasi in the revised edition. And then I didn't buy his Top Shelf Man. I don't, you know, you get to a place in the space where you find your core, you know, holy trinity of books. And then you realize that all these other books are saying a lot of the same stuff. So, so you just stop reading it. And then I've written my own books now. So it's like, I've got my own material. I can just, you know, listen to my own, smell my own farts with that. You know? All right. I'm fucking around now. Guys, tune into the podcast tomorrow. We're going to talk about guys who are pushing too hard for relationships while out dating, and why that's actually pushing women away. Should be a fun one. 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's all we got for this episode. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll see you next time.
You don't fix a storm by folding your sail. She don't want sweet, she wants a man who won't bail. No handouts, no talks, no playing it safe. Earn your ground or get replayed.